Hey everyone, it has been 1 year since I decided to start trying to do 90+% just fresh ground flour in my baking. I use einkorn flour, and so this has been the main flour. I've also used buckwheat, but it has been a year, and I want to I want to show you the difference that we have seen in this year and what I've gotten out of it. Okay, so first of all, I have done fresh ground flour in the past. I have done it quite a bit, but I've never completely switched over. I can't say I completely switched over because we have used all-purpose flour for specialty things. But that said, we have changed to using almost completely fresh ground einkorn flour. It happened last winter. I had been hearing a lot about benefits from fresh ground flour. I had heard a lot of crazy benefits, such as people even as far as losing their diagnosis for autoimmune disorders, and just from switching to using fresh ground flour. I decided, because we do have a lot of health issues in our family that we are constantly trying to figure out, I was going to do something, and I was going to try this because we were already using einkorn. I had my mill, and I did want to get back into trying to use my mill quite a bit. Before this, I had been using a lot of all-purpose einkorn flour because that was, honestly, that's what a lot of people wanted recipes for, was the all-purpose einkorn flour. And so I had gotten more into making recipes for that. You know, you want to do what the people want, and they were good. You know, when you use einkorn flour, it is such a dense flour, a dense grain, which means it is a lot easier with all-purpose to have a fluffier finish on it. And so a lot of things that you're used to having, the white bread, you're not going to get the same rise with einkorn flour. And so switching to using all-purpose is going to help that. But you're also going to take out a lot of the nutritional benefits that einkorn flour has. I think I started using it 12 years ago, and then I really went more into it about 10 years ago. The reason was because I found that I could tolerate it a lot better than other flours, including gluten-free flours. And I noticed I had an issue with trying to tolerate things that had yeast in them. Before this, I had been doing a lot of more no-grain lifestyle, like paleo style things, really focusing on my meats and vegetables. And then sometimes I would do like gluten-free things, but I had to be really careful because my stomach just didn't like a lot of stuff. And so once I found einkorn, I was thrilled. You can look back at my other video on einkorn flour, on einkorn grain, to learn about its anti-inflammatory benefits and why it works differently, and some of the nutritional benefits that come with it. So einkorn, I will say quickly, it has way more nutrition than any of your modern flour that you're going to find. So when you are using the whole berry, the whole einkorn berry, you're going to get way more nutritional benefits. And the research into this was showing that when you mill the einkorn grain, or whatever grain you're milling, you're going to actually lose a lot of the nutrition within 72 hours after the milling process. I mean, a lot of it within 24 hours. You really want to be trying to use it within that 24 hours because it immediately starts to break down. It's interesting because einkorn is supposed to have about 18 grams of protein per serving. Common amount of protein for protein powder is like 20 grams of protein per serving. And so, I mean, it's just amazing how much protein einkorn has in it. But it's got so many other nutrients. It has way more lutein, like 250% more than your modern day wheat. It's got the B vitamins that we so need, that we try and get from taking these supplements and everything. Just so many different things that we try to supplement ourselves with, but we can get it from the flour. And I will say, I know that I am getting it because of the results. So one of the biggest results that we saw this last year was our immune systems were working better. Now, I have a son who has an autoimmune disorder. One of the hardest things is when people get hit with sickness, because that causes his autoimmune disorder to flare. And as a baby, he was getting sick constantly. And so sickness has been a huge problem in our household. And having 4 kids, I have had a lot of sickness all the time, especially with having, a couple of them with a little lower immune systems that don't handle things as much. This year, we only saw, I think it was like maybe 2 flu-like sicknesses come through the whole year, which is just amazing for us. It is unheard of. I've never had as good of a year as I did this year when we started the einkorn flour. Now, what makes me think that it was the einkorn flour was because when we ran out, my daughter got sick. But from what I've seen, when we have the einkorn flour, we have run out a couple times. When we have it, we stay pretty healthy. And then when we run out, I've noticed that is when our immune systems begin to go down. And so I feel like we are definitely getting way more nutritional benefits than we otherwise would be. And it's really helping our immune systems. And by the way, I canned this red sauce with some friends in the last week. We did 21 quarts of red sauce, every single one of them sealed. And most of those were the Superb canning jar lids. And so I just have to make a shout out to them. Every single one of the Superb lids that I have canned has sealed. I am so happy with my Superb canning lids. If you guys can or are trying to start canning, having canning lids that work well is really important. I'll put a link below. You can get 10% off on those from Cooey Housewares, which is a family-owned company based out of Michigan. I just highly recommend the Superb canning lids. Okay, the second thing that we really noticed this year was, that's the word, satiation. I might have mentioned a little bit already, but yes, I think a lot of it is the protein in it, but also the fiber, because the fiber has to be broken down slowly in the body. And having the whole grain just makes it go through your body, and your body slowly has to take those nutrients out and work with it. And my kids ask for food way less. And I mean, this is a huge difference from years past where they were constantly snacking, constantly needing food. I will say, my oldest with the autoimmune disorder, this is a symptom of his autoimmune disorder. And so he goes up and down whether he is asking for food. He will be very hangry, however people say that. But especially when I am keeping bread around and they eat the bread, I don't have people complaining about being super hungry. And there's just been so many days that we don't snack anymore, because they don't feel like they need to snack. And because of that, if you think about it, that's a big financial gain too. Einkorn is expensive, but if you're getting the berries and you're getting them in bulk so that you're solely doing the einkorn like I am, you pay way less for it. And then you're not going out and buying all these snacks that they eat and then they need more of. And so for us, I feel like that has been a financial benefit to do it. So a couple questions. One is, what if I don't know how to use einkorn? Where do I start? Well, you can look on my YouTube video for all of the tutorials. You can look at the blog, Hilltop in the Valley. There's recipes there. There's several. If you put in the search box beginner, you can find recipes that I have labeled as beginner recipes. A great one is the biscuit recipe. Another one is that scone recipe. Those quick bread recipes are great to begin with. There's also a beginner sourdough bread recipe for the fresh ground einkorn flour. That one is the one I was just talking about. Super easy. And Also the chocolate chip cookie recipe. In fact, I have found with the einkorn flour that I almost like the whole wheat in the cookies better. So another question, did you see any weight gain or anything not good that happened from it? I did not notice weight gain, but I am a really bad person to ask about that because my body tends to have a harder time adding the weight. I know other people have to be careful about how much grains they are putting in. You don't have to have a ton of it, but if you're just having like a slice of bread a day, you're getting extra nutrition into you and you're getting that fiber, you're getting just something that's going to be helping up your immune system more. And so I do think the benefits outweigh any problems. Regularity. Okay, there's one more benefit that we saw that I have to talk about. Now, a lot of my kids and myself tend to be more on the side of constipated, if you're going to say anything like that. And so I have to say, having the fresh milled flour really did help. In fact, my oldest was so bad in the last couple years because of his own health issues that this has helped so much, so much. But yes, I do think that people have talked about this for many years. Having whole grains really does help with being regular and stuff like that. I don't know how to finish that except to say that the constipation problem has not been a problem. I think we've given whole grains such a bad name that we've kind of pushed that aside and looked to other things because yeah, there are other things that can help, but there are not necessarily other things that are going to have the same amount of nutrition, that are going to help the immune system the same. It's just that using the fresh ground einkorn flour in its entirety, using the whole berry, it has helped in so many different ways that I do think that it is completely worth it to be grinding flour. So how long does it take me? Well, it takes probably about 5 minutes whenever I am grinding flour. You do have the option of grinding your flour and putting it into the freezer, which really slows down the breakdown process that's going on in the flour that is going to destroy the nutrition and the ability for your body to take it in. So a lot of people will do that. They'll grind their flour and then they will put it in a well-sealed container and put it in the freezer. I will generally just grind my flour when I am going to use it. It only takes a few minutes. And at this point, I'm using a lot of recipes according to scale. So I get a little food scale and I zero it out with the bowl, and then I can actually grind my flour straight into the food bowl to find the exact amount that I need. I can also weigh the grain in the exact amount that I need before putting it into the flour mill. And so those are two ways that I use it in order to make the recipes. Again, it only takes a couple more minutes, and so I have not found that to be a huge time stealer. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear them below. You can put them into that comment box. You can also let me know. I'd love to hear if you are trying out fresh ground flour, or if you've done it for a while, what are the benefits? What are the things that you have seen? I would love to hear, and I'm sure other people who are watching this video would be interested to know as well. So let us know down below, and I'm happy to be back. It's been a while since I've shared a YouTube video with you. You can also see me at the podcast and listen in there, and you can go to hilltopinthevalley.com to find the recipes and more helps. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.